She accepts the babysitting job because rent is late and the message promises easy money. The house sits at the edge of a quiet street where porch lights feel optional. When she knocks, the door opens too quickly, as if they were waiting behind it. The parents speak softly, explaining rules that sound rehearsed. No visitors, no screens after midnight, stay in the living room. They smile too much while saying it. The child sits on the couch, feet not touching the floor, eyes wide and shining. Watches her without curiosity, without fear, without blinking. She introduces herself and waits for a response. He does not move. The parents rush out, offering thanks that feel like relief. The lock clicks louder than it should. She tells herself this is normal. She unpacks snacks, checks the clock, and turns on a cartoon. The child does not look away from her face. Minutes pass, then longer ones. She waves a hand and laughs it off when he does not react. His eyes look wet, but never close. She feels exposed, like she is the one being watched. Outside, the sun slips away, and the house seems to inhale. Shadows gather in corners that were empty before. She sits across from him, pretending calm. She counts his breaths to distract herself. They are slow, measured, deliberate. When she asks his name, he tilts his head slightly. The movement feels practiced. The room grows quiet in a way that presses against her ears. She notices the clock ticking louder than the television. Each second stretches. She realizes she has blinked more than he has moved. Something about that feels wrong. She tells herself children are strange. Still, she cannot stop watching his eyes. They never look tired. They never look away, yet waiting. She tries to shake the unease. By keeping busy, she moves through the kitchen, opening cabinets that are already organized. Everything feels staged, like a display home never lived in. She pours juice into a cup and asks if he wants some. The child does not answer. His eyes follow the cup, the liquid, the way her hand trembles. She sets it in front of him and waits. He does not touch it. The cartoon characters laugh too loudly, filling the room with noise that does not help. She sits back down and checks the time. Still early. Still safe, she tells herself. The child finally looks away from her and stares at the hallway. The darkness there looks thicker than it should. She asks what he is looking at. He says nothing, but his breathing changes, shorter, faster, controlled. She feels a chill crawl up her arms. The house settles with a long groan, like something shifting its weight. She laughs nervously and says old houses make sounds. The child slowly turns back to her. His eyes are red, now irritated, strained, still not blinking. She wonders how that is possible. She remembers reading something about reflexes and pain. Her own eyes burn just thinking about it. She offers to play a game. He shakes his head once. The movement is sharp, final. The television flickers and goes dark. The sudden silence makes her heart jump. She reaches for the remote, pressing buttons harder than necessary. Nothing happens. The child leans closer and whispers that it is almost time. His breath is warm against her skin. She asks time for what? Pulls back and stares again. The clock on the wall ticks louder each second. She realizes she is counting them without meaning to. 10 more minutes until midnight. Her phone vibrates with a low battery warning. No signal bars appear. She stands up, feeling trapped energy flooding her limbs. The child does not move. He only watches, waiting, as if he knows something she does not, as if he is making sure she stays right where she is. The minutes crawl forward, dragging her nerves with them. She paces the living room, pretending the movement helps. Each step feels measured, like the house is counting with her. She checks the doors and windows, finding them locked. The locks are cold, heavy, unfamiliar. She tells herself the parents must be careful. People still, the feeling of being sealed in grows stronger. The child never looks away. His eyes track her back and forth without missing a step. She stops, suddenly testing him. He stops too. That is when she knows something is very wrong. She kneels in front of him and speaks gently. She asks if his eyes hurt. He tilts his head again, that same precise angle. He says blinking makes it easier for them. The word "them" settles in her chest like weight. She asks who. He does not answer. The clock clicks over, closer to midnight. Her mouth feels dry and her eyes sting. She blinks hard, trying to clear them. The child flinches. It is the first reaction she has seen from him. His hands clench into fists. "Do not do that," he says. His voice cracks like it is holding back panic. She apologizes, laughing nervously. She says she did not mean anything by it. The lights flicker once, twice, then steady. The shadows along the walls stretch longer. The hallway seems deeper than before. She hears something like a soft knock from upstairs. The child whispers they are checking. Her heart races and she asks, checking for what? He presses his palms into his eyes without closing them. He says they check for open ones. She feels a pressure behind her own eyes now. A dull ache that pulses with the ticking clock. Midnight is minutes away. She considers calling the parents, but her phone screen stays dark. No signal, no help. The child straightens his back like someone preparing. He tells her to sit still and look forward. He says if you blink, they will see you. Her eyes burn and water. She tries to keep them open. The clock ticks louder than ever, 1 minute left. She realizes she is holding her breath, waiting for something she does not want to meet. Midnight arrives without a sound. The clock stops ticking as if it has reached a limit. The silence feels thick enough to press against her ears. She realizes she can hear her own heartbeat. The child exhales slowly like someone who has been holding air too long. He whispers that it has started. She asks what has started, but her voice feels weak. The lights dim without turning off. The walls seem farther away, yet closer at the same time. She feels dizzy and grips the edge of the couch. The child finally blinks once. It is quick, painful, and deliberate. He winces but keeps his eyes open again. He says they are closer now. She asks where they are. He points upward toward the ceiling, then toward the hallway, then toward her chest. She laughs softly, trying to stay calm. She tells herself this is imagination. Fear stories kids tell. A low sound rolls through the house like distant thunder. It does not come from outside. The floor vibrates under her feet. The child stands and moves closer to her. His shadow stretches far behind him, longer than his body should allow. He says they do not like adults watching. He says adults blink too much. She forces a smile and wipes tears from her eyes. They burn like she has been staring into smoke. She feels something watching from the dark doorway, not moving, not breathing, just waiting. She turns her head slowly and freezes. The hallway looks wrong. It bends slightly like it is leaning toward her. She hears soft dragging sounds above the ceiling, like fingers testing for cracks. The child grips her sleeve and shakes his head. "Do not look for them," he says. "If you look, they will know where you are." Her eyes twitch, begging to blink. Pain pulses behind them in waves. She breathes shallow, fast. She feels trapped inside her own body. The house creaks again, louder this time. A shape shifts in the corner of her vision. She does not turn to see it. She cannot risk it. The child whispers they see you trying. He says they love when people try not to blink. She feels terror bloom cold and sharp, and understands this night was never meant to be easy. It was meant to be watched. The pressure in the room grows heavier, like the air has weight. She swallows and tastes metal. Her eyes water uncontrollably, blurring the shapes around her. She focuses on the child, forcing herself not to blink. His pupils are stretched wide, reflecting movement she cannot see. He whispers that they are behind the walls now, listening, learning. She hears scratching, faint at first, then clearer. It travels along the walls, circling the room. She presses her hands to her sides, afraid to cover her eyes. The television turns on by itself, glowing white with no image. Shadows flicker across the screen, forming shapes that dissolve when she looks. Directly, the child backs toward the couch, pulling her with him. "Do not follow the noises," he says. "They want you to turn your head." Her neck aches from holding still. Her eyes throb with each heartbeat. She feels something brush her ankle. It is cold and quick, like a breath. She stiffens, refusing to look down. The scratching moves to the ceiling above them. Dust falls in thin streams. She smells something damp and old. The child mutters words she does not understand. They sound like counting her. Phone suddenly lights up. For a moment, hope flares. Then she sees the screen showing her own face staring back. Her eyes on the screen blink slowly, out of sync with her body. She drops the phone with a gasp. It skids across the floor and stops at The hallway entrance, a shape bends to pick it up, too tall, too thin. She squeezes her eyes wider, ignoring the pain. The child begins to cry silently, tears running down his cheeks. He tells her they are impatient. He says adults always break first. The walls pulse inward slightly, then relax like something breathing. She hears a whisper directly behind her ear. It says her name in her own voice. She does not turn. She does not blink. Her vision dims at the edges, turning gray. The child grips her. Hand nails digging into her skin. "Hold on," he whispers. "Just a little longer. They hate when you last this long." Her body trembles violently. Every instinct screams to blink, to look, to run. But she stays staring, waiting, as the house leans closer around them. Her vision narrows until the world becomes a tunnel. Colors fade, leaving only shapes and movement. She tastes salt from tears sliding down without blinking. The child counts under his breath, each number a strain. The scratching grows louder, closer. More desperate, something presses from the inside of the walls, leaving bulges that slide away. She feels warmth at her temple, like breath. A whisper promises relief if she just closes her eyes. Her legs shake, threatening to give out. She sinks onto the couch, never breaking her stare. The child presses his forehead against her arm. He says they are angry now. He says they do not like being ignored. A loud crack echoes from the ceiling. A thin line splits open, like a mouth. Darkness spills out. Thick and slow hands push through jointed, wrong, searching. She fights the urge to scream. Sound feels dangerous, like movement. The television flickers again, showing the living room from above. She sees herself and the child sitting still behind them. Shapes crowd the walls. Some have faces that do not finish forming. She cannot look away. The child whispers, "Do not watch them," through the screen. They watch back. Her chest tightens. Her heart pounds so hard it hurts. The room tilts. She feels herself slipping. The child suddenly shouts, "Blink." The word hits her like shock. She looks at him confused. His eyes are frantic, wet, shaking. He says, "They will punish me if you do not." She realizes too late what he means. The scratching stops. The whispers fall. Silent, everything holds still, waiting. Her eyes spasm. Pain explodes behind them. She fights it, biting her lip until blood fills her mouth. The child sobs, apologizing over and over. He says he tried to teach them patience. He says adults never listen. A shadow peels away from the wall and steps forward. It bends low, close to her face. She feels cold where its gaze touches. It waits. She cannot hold on. Her vision fractures. Her eyes close for a fraction of a second. Just one blink. The world rushes back violently. The shadow smiles with a mouth that opens too wide. The child screams, and the house exhales in triumph. Moment her eyes open. The room is no longer the same. The walls pulse like living skin. Shadows detach, fully crawling across the floor with purpose. She gasps, sucking in air that tastes rotten. The child is screaming now, real fear breaking through his careful control. He shouts that she should not have done it. She tries to apologize, but the words dissolve in her throat. Hands rise from the floorboards, fingers stretch in too many joints, bending wrong. They do not touch her yet. They circle, studying. The lights flare bright, then drop to a dim red glow. The house groans like it is pleased. She stumbles to her feet, vision swimming. The hallway twists, opening wider than it should. Darkness spills out thick like smoke. Faces press from inside the walls, mouths opening silently. The child grabs her arm, pulling her back. "Too late," he cries. "They can see you clearly now, eh?" Shape steps forward, taller than the doorway. Its surface ripples like oil on water, eyes open across it, blinking eagerly. Each blink sends pain through her skull. She covers her ears, but the sound comes from inside her head. A chorus whispering, welcoming, thanking, feeding. The floor tilts. She falls to her knees. The child backs away, tears streaking his face. He says they only come when someone new watches. He says they promise to leave him alone. If he taught her the rules, the truth hits harder than fear. This was never about protection. It was about offering. The shapes surge closer, brushing her skin. Where they touch, cold spreads like frost. Her muscles lock. She cannot look away. She cannot blink again. The tallest shape bends low, its many eyes stare into hers, reflecting endless rooms, endless nights. It shows her flashes of other babysitters, other watchers. All frozen, all staring, all still here. She feels herself slipping backward inside her mind. The child whispers goodbye, the house shudders with excitement, and the shadows close in, ready to teach her how to watch forever. The shapes press closer, they're cold, seeping into her skin. Her knees dig into the floor, but it feels soft like mud. She wants to scream, but the sound dies in her throat. The child sits across from her, tears streaming silently. He tells her to focus, to keep her eyes open, no matter what. The tallest shape leans down closer still, its many eyes staring, unblinking. She feels memories slipping like sand through her fingers. Familiar rooms twist into endless hallways she does not recognize. The walls pulse with anticipation. Whispers curl around her ears like smoke. They speak in voices too many, too fast, promising nothing. Her vision narrows until she can see only the child and the shapes. Every blink she wants to take feels like an explosion behind her eyes. The tallest one tilts its head, mimicking her movements. The child grips her hands, forcing her to hold still. He says they only respond to fear and attention. The shapes begin to flow around them like liquid shadow. They stretch through the floor, through the ceiling, brushing her hair, her arms, her shoulders. A pressure builds in her chest. She feels her heartbeat in her throat. Time stretches and twists. Hours pass in seconds. The child whispers that it is nearly complete. They will take what they are owed. Her body shivers with cold and anticipation. The shapes begin to rise taller, bending the ceiling toward them. Her vision blurs, edges darkening. Pain pulses in her skull like drums. The child whispers one last warning. They like the lesson to end with surrender. She blinks, almost out of exhaustion. Her eyes snap open, immediately fearing what will happen. The tallest shape tilts its head and smiles. All the others gather closer, forming a single mass of shifting darkness. The child cries softly, brushing his tears against her hand. They rush forward like smoke, collapsing into her. She feels herself being pulled in every direction. The room stretches wider and taller and smaller all at once. And then the world goes still. She sits frozen, eyes wide, watching. As the shadows settle around her like a living cage, the child finally blinks slowly. The lesson is complete. Morning light seeps through the curtains, weak and pale. The house feels empty, yet heavy, as if it remembers every movement from the night. The child lies asleep on the couch, peaceful for the first time in years. The babysitter sits beside him, her body stiff, unmoving. Her eyes are wide, dry, unblinking, staring at something only she can see. The floorboards creak softly under her hands, but the sound is muted. She remembers the shadows, the whispers, the pressure, the shapes that flowed through walls. Her heart still races, though nothing moves. The child shifts in his sleep, murmuring words she cannot understand. Outside, birds chirp too cheerfully, and sun warms the porch. Inside, the air tastes stale, thick with something unseen. The parents return, stepping lightly, as if sensing the house is different. They smile at the child, relieved, calm washing over them. They do not look at her. She does not look at them. She knows they would not understand if she tried. The room stretches and contracts subtly in the corners of her vision. She feels the presence still lingering, a weight on her chest, as if the shadows have nested there. The child stirs slightly, rolling toward her hand. She does not move. She has learned too well the cost of blinking. Time passes and the house remains quiet, yet alive in ways she cannot name. Her mind plays over the shapes in the eyes and the lesson that cannot be forgotten. She wonders if she will ever leave, if the world outside will feel the same. The child opens his eyes slowly. For a moment, their innocence restored. Her own eyes ache from strain. She forces herself to stay awake, watching the light and shadows. She knows they could return at any time. The house exhales around her. She exhales too, and waits, watching, knowing that nothing in the world will ever be quiet again. The child sleeps, the parents are oblivious, and the babysitter is caught in the space between the seen and unseen, forever tethered to the eyes that never blink.